Willie Nelson was with us, he'd say. We're on the road again, this time heading south in Western Australia to Bunbury City Regional Raceway. And there is the winner's haul-up. Randy Hannagan heading south, and Pino Priolo likewise. They're covering the miles this year. I tell you what, it's going to be a big national haul. Very picturesque circuit to the southwest of Western Australia. We're going to catch up with Robbie Farr, who by his own standards is struggling just a little.
No, last night we just missed. We just weren't there to start with. We really struggled last night, but you know, that's okay. Tonight's a new night. At least we didn't have to wait a week to find out, to get it going again. So we ran good here at the Australian titles, and we think we're going to have a good night tonight for sure.
One of the prettiest venues in Australian Speedway, Bunbury City Regional Raceway, just built a massive big grandstand. Of course, this is the home of the Australian Sprint Car Championship from last season. Ryan Farrell, the West Aussie, alongside the South Aussie Chaz Calandro. Welcome back to our coverage. You're enjoying the action, I'm sure you are. Round 3 of the $500,000 World Series Sprint Cars. I'm joined in commentary by Sydney Sprint Car driver JJ Manif, Gary Brazier, right behind Max Dumesny, who climbs up high. Going into turn number 3 and 4, Brazier right there with him. See, we've seen some fantastic racing so far in this series, JJ, and it looks like tonight we're set for even more.
Yeah, this racetrack just provides good racing, and the quality of the guys out here racing is just, it's great.
3 very different circuits in 3 rounds. You saw Kalgoorlie really challenge the drivers to know how to use their throttle, how to go forward in slippery conditions. Claremont, some ferocious racing, and no beg your pardons, and at Bunbury you can expect much the same. Dean McComb running under siege from Max Dumesny. Well, Max, traditionally this is a racetrack he does very well at. Not, of course, forgetting that he ran last year as the Australian Championship. This is where he won the event. Out of turn number 2, back down the straight. He certainly looks very fast. And McComb running down lower on the track. Max has a lot of straightaway speed. More importantly, he's coming off the corners a lot quicker. Back behind him is Gary Brazier. As we go back into turn number 1 and 2, Max making a lot of ground out of the turns.
Yeah, Max is keeping the car a lot straighter than McComb. You can see McComb's car's getting a lot sideways in the corner, where Max is keeping the car a lot straighter, so he should carry more speed.
Well, there is Brazier starting to get right up behind Max as well, so he can't afford to mess around. Back into turn number 1 and 2. Max climbing all over the tail of the number 21 car. The Reeve Cruck owned. This is one of the 2 cars they have this year. Reeves' young son Drew is racing as well. Max, relentless. This is what makes him one of the most exciting drivers in the nation. Oh, Max Dumesny rides the wheel, and that is an horrendous crash. Going into turn number 1, a jarring impact. Let's look at it here. He gets into the turn, just drove right over the right rear of McComb and slams the concrete. Now that is concrete. I tell you, it's at least 6 to 8 inches thick. He's not going to move that in a hurry. And you can see Dumesny's car in a lot of trouble. Let's catch up with Max and find out, look at the damage. What on earth happened to Max Dumesny then?
I guess I screwed up. I didn't allow myself enough room to get around the outside and went for a ride.
What about the car? There's an awful lot of damage apparent in the car.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of damage. We've sort of cobbled it up a little bit, and we're going to go out and try, but who knows? We're going to do a couple laps at the back of the beam, see what it feels like, and we'll go from there.
Does a crash like that sort of put you off your game a bit?
Not really. The only point it would put me off is if it hurts when I'm out there. I'm sort of hurting a little inside at the moment.
Oh, I bet he's hurting a little inside. I bet tomorrow he hurts even more. But I tell you what's aching more than Max, Sean Curran's wallet. Into turn number 3 and 4. Brazier on the charge now. Well, I tell you what, McComb has had to work. I've never seen him work so hard for a second spot in my life. What's amazing about that situation is, as we see Ryan Farrell clearing away and doing a good job in the Kendrick Racing entry, is McComb suffered no damage at all in that skirmish.
No, that's right. Max just seemed to drive over his right rear. Didn't really hit McComb's car too hard, but he just misjudged it by, a couple of centimetres, and all of a sudden you got a broken race car.
Half a lap left to travel for this young bloke, 24 years of age, Ryan Farrell, one of the most volatile sprint car drivers on the scene, but a very talented young man. Checkered flag is out. Back then to McComb. Gary Brazier. Go back then to Scotty Milling. Well, good drive to Ryan Farrell. He sweeps to victory in the heat race. This is what you call last chance, ladies and gentlemen. In sprint car racing, if you don't make it, generally to be the first 2 across the line, and this, the B main, you don't get to race in the A, and that's where they pay out the big dollars. Robbie Farr starts on the pole alongside the South Aussie Peter Smith. Back to Kerry Madsen, Ray Geneve. Back then it would be Drew Cruck and Pino Priolo. That's your top 6. We're into the B. And everybody has to pull out the stops here. The concrete curb generally provides you with a lot of sparks. You just saw Madsen Doing it then, Ray Geneve, the number 47 car, the Charger from Osborne Park in his final season of racing this year. Coming out of turn number 4, you're noticing something about the way the car handles, JJ?
Yeah, Robbie Farr's car on the left rear as he come out of turn 4. He's got that car working really, really nice.
Out of turn number 2, let's look at the restart here. Robbie Farr, let's look at it from his perspective, and that's what you're talking about. Whew, that thing just laid down and boogied. You can see what's amazing about that camera angle though, JJ, is the way the cars slide, but a lot of times the wheels are in line. It's like the whole car washes up track, it's not sideways. Quite amazing.
Yeah, I think it's just how the car works with the wing and all the suspension working together. It just sticks down and runs in there.
Are we getting an accurate idea of what these things are like to drive? Because we're seeing a different angle that we don't normally get to see.
Yeah, that angle shows it pretty good, but the one from Kalgoorlie where it was looking back onto Robbie, I think that showed a lot more what it is like to see in one of these cars.
Ray Geneve sitting right behind Peter Smith, the sprightly veteran Geneve, one of the true greats of sprint car racing in Western Australia for many years. For a lot of years, in fact, West Aussie sprint car racing was made up of the big three, and that was the big chap, Noel Bradford, Mr. Sprint Car, Alf Barbagallo, and the Charger from Osborne Park. The man I talk of right now, Ray Geneve. Here is Robbie Farr. Just look at the way he gets around this place. The wall is just a blur. Robbie Farr will go on to win this. It's been a convincing drive for him. Well done. Look at him just flying around this place. And you can see down the main straight, you can see how close he gets up against the wall too, because the clay just rooster tails up alongside the concrete. Farr's got a big lead. Look at that, almost the main straight. Back to Peter Smith, is it, in second spot. Back then to Kerry Madsen and Ray Geneve. So Madsen's starting to come forward too. They both know, these guys here, they've got to get up into at least the second spot. As Farr clearing away, back down the main straight. Remarkable how fast they get around this place.
Yeah, you can just get the car working so well and you can really get some speed up.
You see Robbie's covered just about every centimetre of this place, but he's down low, coming out of turn number 3 and 4, back onto the main straight, and this is a huge lead. 1 lap left to go, and Peter Smith, can he hang on for second? Because Madsen is starting to come at him. Farr has cleared away. He'll wrap up the B main with ease and go to the rear of the A main field. Onto the main straight he comes. Going through to the A as well will be Peter Smith from South Australia, back to Kerry Madsen and Ray Geneve. Well, it's 4 wide time now at Bunbury City Regional Raceway. And this is the 3rd round, the final round of the Western Swing for the World Series Sprint Cars. Any way you slice it, this is 16 of the fastest cars that we have seen this evening. And it's really a cross-section of talent. Jamie Moon, I see him back in car number 71. And the rear group of those 4. Robbie Farr, too, is going to do it tough from well back there. Darren Jensen has made the field. Quite a few Queenslanders, actually. That's good for the sport to see so many Queenslanders in the field. It's looking quite bright. There is Dean McComb, you've got Drew Cruck, you've got Andrew Shirley, Darren Jensen. There's a lot of talent from up that way. Onto the main straight, it's green light time at Bunbury. Away we go. Ryan Farrell up against the Hurricane. Randy Hannagan, Skip Jackson in 3rd, Trevor Green in 4th, Mark Wells down the bottom, Andrew Shirley upstairs. The 2 Queenslanders running together. Oh, Shirley's a little high. Wow, Trevor Green very nearly making contact with Brooke. That would have been just the ultimate irony. There goes the number 8 car out of turn 2. Brooke Tatnell looking a lot sharper tonight. Ron Cricky back with Andrew Shirley. Not a good night for Ron Cricky by his own standards on his home track. And it's going to be interesting now to see whether Ryan Farrell can weather the storm that the Hurricane provides. Here is a look at the restart. And you can see Farr picked up 2 cars almost immediately. Look at the sparks coming off the red. Max Dumesny back in the field there as well. Gee, Robbie Farr going forward, JJ.
Yeah.
That was 6 or 7 cars in the space of, what, 100 metres?
That's a typical Robbie Farr start.
Out of 10. Was that one of them, Gary Brazier, then? Well, I tell you what, he did want to go past the GB number 21 car. Here comes Hannagan trying it on the low side of Ryan Farrell, who hasn't had a major win like this before in his career, but he's been close a number of times. A young man who was very talented behind the wheel of a go-kart. What is it about go-kart racing, JJ Maneve, that seems to give guys such a good grounding? You come out of the karts yourself. What is it about them that you can translate to sprint cars?
I think the thing with the kart is that everything is so even. Basically, everyone runs the same weight. The motors are pretty much identical, and it just teaches you to be super, super smooth and really good in traffic. And obviously, it helps when you sort of step up into something like a sprint car.
Well, next time we go to this in-car camera, we'll have a listen. We'll just be quiet and have a listen to the way that this motor is revving, and you'll see whereabouts Robbie is on and off the gas. There is Mark Wells running a very aggressive main wing angle as he comes up behind the Titan Reef Cruck, owned number 21. There is Trevor Green from South Australia in the number 4. Ahead of him is Brooke Tatnall. And Wellesley is looking for a much bigger result tonight. Here is Farrell, your race leader, with Hannagan starting to close him down now again. We saw a bit of patience and a clever drive from Hannagan last night. Is he doing the same thing with Farrell? Is he waiting for an opportunity? Because the only downside to doing that, JJ, is you don't know how close the guy is back in third. Now Hannagan has decided to turn up the heat.
Yeah, I think he was listening to you then, Wade.
Well, I tell you what, you've got to be careful, don't you? It's all right to sit there and try and size up the opposition, but someone can nail you while you're doing that.
That's right. You've got to remember, in a sprint car, we don't have rear vision mirrors. We don't have any communications back to the pits. You don't know what's happening behind you, so you really just got to give it your best shot the whole way.
There is Skip Jackson now. This will be a test of Ryan Farrell's mettle because, JJ, I guess you've been there a couple of times yourself. You've been out in front. If someone gets by, it must be really easy to drop your bundle, and all of a sudden, you're on the ropes like this now. Farrell has really got to tighten up, doesn't he? He's got to think about maintaining a line here and keeping his head about him.
Yeah, you just got to keep remembering to run your own race, not worry about the guy behind you, and try and run down the guy in front and just sort of keep doing what you were doing when you're in the lead. Obviously, it was working earlier.
Well, Brooke Tatnall now started to look down the barrel of a much better run, coming right up behind Jackson, who in turn has got his hands full with Farrell. Well, I tell you what, talking about no rear vision mirrors, that's an absolute mercy for Ryan Farrell. Because if he looked back and saw that Skip Jackson and Brooke Tatnall are trying to get him, it would make him sit down just a little bit lower in the seat, I think. They come out of turn number 2. Farrell running a disciplined line, the Kendrick Racing, number 92 Murphy. Out of turn 4, Jackson once again trying the lower side on him. Brooke is probably going to be the experimental type in this situation. Well, we had a look on the inside, didn't quite work out for him. He's running a different main wing setting to that of Skip's, a lot higher and a little bit further back than Skip.
Yeah, I think Brooke's trying to make the car work maybe a little bit higher on the racetrack. As we know, Skip usually runs the bottom of the track. He keeps the car a lot straighter than most people. Brooke's trying to pin the car really hard. You can see there he's working towards the outside of the track. And also the track's starting to slick off at the moment. There's a lot more dust and that black line where it's laying the rubber through the middle of the turns.
Look at Brooke on the outside of Jackson, coming up for a trademark outside groove move for Brooke Tatnall. Oh, I tell you what, we saw Max Dumesny exactly the same situation earlier. What I like about these two, though, is they can race wheel to wheel. I was going to say without contact, but there was contact there. A puff of blue smoke, that was tyre smoke, right?
Yeah, just a little touch.
Just rubbing his racing, I suppose you're going to tell me.
Sometimes.
Going into turn number 3, it can be pretty frightening too. Now, what is amazing about this is even though Skip's got his hands full, let's listen to Robbie Farr here. Let's just tune in and listen to this motor. By the sound of it, JJ in the turns.
Yeah, Robbie's just rolling the car in, rolling out of the throttle, setting the car up for the turn, and then slowly picking the throttle back up as he comes off the turn. Again, you don't just want to stand in the gas too hard. You just spin the tyres and end up running slower than what you would just easing the throttle on.
Well, Skip has dropped off Brooke just a little bit here. That's quite surprising. Tatnall was really on a mission before we see Ron Cricky now. Looks like Robbie Farr has been able to pass Ron Cricky. So from starting well back in the field, I think it was back like 15th or 16th in the field, and using up every bit of the racetrack, Robbie Farr is going forward. Brazier, Cricky, Shirley and Farr in that little group of 4. Ron Cricky wouldn't be happy with this particular result on his home turf. He won a better effort out of turn number 4. Hey, but it's a tough field. There's a lot of fast cars. Cricky would be the first to concede that. Now, Robbie Farr, car got really tight. When we say tight, JJ, we talk about a car that wants to keep pushing up towards the wall on the track, even when it's turned in a left-hand direction. It is a fast car, though.
Yeah, sometimes is what happens is you get a push if you run into the corner and you have to get out the throttle for some reason, like if you get balked by a car, really upsets the car and it will get a push.
Here is Ryan Farrell driving the race of his life to hold out the 2-time and defending World Series Sprint Cars and Knoxville track champion, Skip Jackson. Hannagan has long gone. He has checked out. The hurricane has blown in and blown out. Not many people saw which way it went, but behind him is a trail of havoc that is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. They're a long way back. Hannagan has just blitzed him. JJ was talking about how the track slicks off a little bit. It gets dry, slippery. You can see the dust trails just a little bit now. Here comes Green back at Tatnall. So all of a sudden, Trevor Green's setup is coming on and Brooke Tatnall's is going off a little. Mark Wells has some damage to the inside face of the main wing. They come out of turn number 2. Well, Brooke will be disappointed, but I guess happy in this instance that he's at least finishing. Once again, Farrell is just doing a nice job holding Jackson out. Hannagan will take the win, though. The little American steamrolls the opposition to take the feature. From Farrell in second, Skip Jackson in third, back to Brooke Tattle in fourth. JJ Malik, thanks for joining us for the coverage. Hope you've enjoyed your time.
I have, Wade. Thank you.
Well, Randy Hannagan in victory lane. Let's go and chat with a very happy little Californian, Victor in round number 3.
My car's working really good. My team's got a lot of momentum behind us right now, and you know these wins go out to my team. You know, that makes my job pretty easy.
Well, after the 3 rounds in Western Australia, the points look like this, and all of a sudden, the Hurricane is in town. Randy Hannagan chasing Skip Jackson, just 30 points behind him. Gary Brazier in third with 16.30. West Aussie Ryan Farrell, a good result for him with 15.